It has certainly been a bit of a break due to World Cup shenanigans, but now everything's done and dusted. We're here and we're live for the North American ESL Guns of Boom Go4 Finals. My name is Ketchup and I'm joined on the desk by Mustard for another time. It's been a good journey today for Europe. We saw Yakuza take their big win as we lead into the European Invitational at the end of the month. But with Yakuza being in the semi-finals on the USA standings as well, we're going to wonder if the Yakuza clan can take their back-to-back wins across both regions. It would definitely be a sick result.
It would be, but whether we'll see that or not, we will see over the next few hours or so. But before we get too into it, we have a couple of graphics to show you folks at home, starting off with the roadmap about basically what these Go4s are and what exactly it is that our teams are playing for. So the Go4 series is a free-to-enter tournament series that takes place every weekend that you and everyone you know at home are able to enter and see if they can win. The weekly cups are obviously for a small amount of prize money, but also points towards the Go4 bi-weekly finals, which is exactly what we have here on our Sunday finals, where of course players play for considerably more prize money and that all-important competitive experience. But of course, the big finish is that European Invitational for $40,000, and then later in the year, North America for $120,000. That is what the Go4 series is all about. It's about weekly tournaments qualifying for these lovely finals and seeing who the best teams around the world are.
So we have our brackets up and running so you guys can really see what the journey's been for our North American team so far. The running theme is always going to be, well hyped up, maintain at the top of the food chain. That's what I'm going to be wondering. We can see they were able to conquer 0-2-0 leading into the semi-finals. Amplified defeated ACTV. V took out Thotties, and Yakuza USA took out ACTV2. So in typical fashion, we're going to do the two semi-finals and then a third place playoff. This is a single elimination bracket, meaning we have to determine third place because it's top three that take home the cash money.
So just a quick reminder to those of you watching at home that might be on the European part of the world, just to remind you guys and girls, we have the European Invitational coming up in just a few weeks' time, and you can purchase your tickets at home to be able to attend this lovely event where of course you can meet Game Insight, you can meet the players, you can meet whoever you want that you think is a top Guns of Boom player that we know have already qualified for it. Go to esl.im/EU tickets to get your ticket to the first major event that Guns of Boom has ever had in a live environment.
So our first match is going to be Hyped Up versus Amplified. Hyped Up, really, they are the go-to team of North America. They've had the most successes, they're looking to be the strongest. I do believe we have the current standings for North America to really see what the progress has been from yesterday's tournament getting into this point. And in typical fashion, shock horror, Hyped Up were able to have the highest amount of points by far. That said, Yakuza USA shortly behind, and then obviously we had ACTV and V shortly behind them. But again, it kind of puts into perspective just how dominant this team is. We have seen in Europe, there's been kind of a back and forth between, back-to-back Knights of Honor, Yakuza now as well, with how well they played earlier today. But it feels like that's just not the case in North America. There is a clear-cut #1 team, and that team's name is Hyped Up.
Absolutely, and that just goes with the results that we see show after show, broadcast after broadcast. Whenever we see an American leaderboard, this team is always right at the top of it. The results really do speak for themselves. But just before we get into this game, just to remind you folks watching at home, the format, of course, this is going to be our standard single elimination best of 3 maps, just first to 2 maps. Each round is going to be a predetermined map selection, as you can see at the bottom of your screens right now. We will be starting, as always, on the semi-finals with Europe Streets, Subway Station, and then Europe Square. Now, one thing we did not have at the last broadcast is a wonderful overlay that we can show you exactly what this map is and give some quick analysis as to what this map exactly might provide for the players.
So Europe Streets, it's one of the more conventional team deathmatch maps. It's very, very symmetrical. You spawn in the same location no matter what your team is, and it is going to be a lovely mix of sniping and shotgun action. It basically means that there's going to be some teammates kind of sitting in the back, either at the back overseeing the streets themselves in the middle, or there's going to be those certain locations you can pick at the top and the bottom. You can see up top near red and blue, there's kind of like that sniper alleyway alleyway, you will characteristically see a lot of teams kind of hide between the crates, use them as cover, and kind of try and pick off those targets, with most likely a Barracuda as the most popular sniper rifle we see for obviously getting the bullet back when you land that shot, and also the damage that you really bring on the table if you're accurate. But then also there's a lot of scope for ambush locations in the middle of the map, which kind of takes place either by the staircases or just by the middle near the cars. You know, there's a lot of action taking place, and the weapons we're going to see depends entirely on where the players are on the map to begin with.
Yeah, absolutely. But on this kind of map, I think it's one of those situations where it's a pretty unconventional team deathmatch map. I think normally the fighting is very kind of focused into a center point, whereas on Europe Streets we do kind of see the fighting, I suppose, fluidly move around, depending on where the teams are obviously going to attack. You have those kind of high up sniper points on either side of the map, kind of near, I suppose, the safety of your spawn locations near enough. Obviously, you can't actually shoot people from where you up on the spawn, but it's sitting back near where you know your team is going to be. Whereas, obviously, if no one's in the middle, there's no one to see. Chances are the fighting is going on those side alleyways. But the question is, what are these teams going to be favoring for? As we do basically see a different story every time we see Europe Streets.
Well, that story is about to be written before our very eyes. It's going to be hyped up and amplified for our first semi-final of the day. And there's already a little bit of patience. User claims the first blood, but not before it's returned. These kind of back and forth sniper fights, very common, but with Thala is here, we see a double kill. Double kills are very, very important because of the increased score you get for those bonus kill situations.
But of course, you know, just one quick notice we've seen so far is the same weapons being used 100% again. You know, this is why there very much is those kind of best weapons per weapon type. You know, you got the Porcupine shotgun, you have those, the Juggernaut on the Odin assault rifles, Barracuda if you have it, and you know, we tend to see a little bit of the Thanatos, but generally speaking, it is the Barracuda we see. But it really is the Porcupine. I think the Porcupine really is the star player. You know, it really is that star attraction that all the teams will definitely be making sure they have ready to go. Because
for me, you factor in use, and I know, you know, damage can vary and sometimes situational, you know, things can change as well. But with the Porcupine basically being in 100% of our players' loadouts, the fact that it is seen as absolutely necessary in the highest level of competition, I would definitely go as far to say that I think this is the best weapon in the game. Because if it's so good, every player on every team needs to have it, then how can anything even compete with that level in terms of like just straight up necessity?
Absolutely. But I just want to quickly point out every single team that made it through to the semi-final stages of this bracket did so in a 2-0 victory. So it has been a very one-sided tournament so far, regardless for all of our winners. But I've got to be honest, this match not looking quite as one-sided so far. Of course, 500 is the limit in Team Deathmatch. There's still plenty of the match left to go. And it very much seems to be a bit back and forth as hyped up User is able to get 2 kills back-to-back for that double, and almost single-handedly get his team back into this one.
Yeah, it shows the importance. Now when they trade at only 2 points, they're going to separate the two teams at this point in time. Very possible on stream that some teams can take a while to get going. That said, hyped up have been able to snatch the lead away. That's because of a double kill coming out from Stark. Does drop to Savage, but not before we see another kill from Aim Assist at the same time. Hyped up in the lead, but barely.
Yeah, I mean, 1 point lead is practically not a lead at this point in the game, right? Talha getting that long-range kill with the Barracuda, still looking on those sidelines. And this is what we were talking about, right? You know, players opting to stick up the taller points of the map using the Barracuda, making sure they've got that distance. You know, these guys, they are in team comms with each other. They're going to be saying where the opponents are, and they're going to be noticing that no one really is in the middle. It looks like hyped up. They're going to sort of spring the trap.
And User. This is a 1v1. Oh, I love it. Using the mobility, running straight forward, not even trying to answer back. Remember, these big damage sniper rifles do have a little bit of wind-up time. So if you can kind of keep that timer in your head, and you know that if you can kind of stay out of their line of sight within the right time, the shot's not even going to come out.
Savage getting that point-blank kill onto User. User was, I think he was looking in the Barracuda scope. He did not see. He was getting ambushed from behind. Regardless, though, it's going to make a difference as Hyped Up is still quite firmly in the lead. To be honest, Talha getting a really good kill, saving Aim Assist from some further damage and trouble. Look, see, Stark is still there. He definitely knows Stark is there. He's there the whole time. He's still throwing grenades around. Now Stark, this is where he decides to come out, and he's going to get the kill. Talha got caught in the middle of a grenade animation, I think, and was not able to fire back. Right as Aim Assist looped around below as well. So that's unfortunate timing, and it is going to give Hyped Up even more of a lead.
That was the perfect time. Oh, my word. That was actually well executed by Stark, but unfortunately, he just didn't have the health to go back and forth. Aim Assist, super healthy. Wasn't going to die on that ambush, but I respect the attempt.
Okay, Hyped Up there, ahead by 40, and as we go to the later stages of this map, that is a bit bigger than you might assume. Stark is going to be credited with another Barracuda kill. Talha going to be dropping down. Curious to see how this match goes on, to be honest, because Stark is having a really strong map.
The second you have the point lead, you kind of, it becomes in your favor that you can sort of start to be patient. The second you don't need to overextend and you can play the patient game. Stark with a wonderful positioning and combining that with Venom's double grenade kill. I think that might be all she wrote. Forced to turn around because he's sandwiched, but at this point, they're going to have to pull off one hell of a comeback right now.
I mean, it's not impossible for Hyped Up, for Amplified, I should say. They are getting a couple of kills here. Less than 100 to go. Hyped Up, I think at this point, 2 kills away from getting the lead.
They just can't die. They just can't give up a single kill now.
There's one. Oh, there's a trade out. One more kill for Hyped Up is going to take it. 30 seconds, and that's going to be enough. Jon Snow is going to get that final kill of the map with that Porcupine. And I think a stable end, really, considering it was very back and forth. But for the most part, I think Hyped Up were able to always be in the lead. So it was one of those situations that the map was very close, but they were always winning. So they were still really doing the best for themselves.
For me, it was methodical. I think it was a very slow-paced match. They kind of traded back and forth quite heavily. And then about halfway through, we kind of started to see Hyped Up come online. And that really is one of the big things we see about Hyped Up in general is, no pun intended, they become hyped up. They start to realize halfway through, they start playing a little bit better. Their shots are more on target. They start missing less. Their ambushes are more on point. Their times when to go in, their collective group fight situations, they all just become a lot more punctual. And that's the real thing to take away is the second Hyped Up start to really catch their groove. I think we're yet to see in this entire Go4 any team bring it to them once they start hitting their A game.
Oh, I remember saying this a lot over the broadcast, but very snowball heavy team, right? They're so momentum focused that when they start getting that snowball rolling and they start getting really, feeling themselves and they start really buying into what's going on, it is hard to stop them. And I think this kind of game is really rewarded by that play style, because if you start getting momentum, you start really getting into the energy of what's going on. If you as a team are doing well, that is going to lead to being more accurate, being more aggressive, not being afraid to make those big plays. Obviously it's a bit dangerous to get overly aggressive, but if you're doing so and being really accurate at the same time, and you've got a whole team of people with a Porcupine ready to just get point blank up close and personal, and they're excited to be there because they're really feeling the energy of the match, then 100% that team is going to be hard to deal with. However, if that kind of team never manages to get that step up, I'm curious to see how Hyped Up will be able to play should they lose that kind of first fight, that infamous first fight that happens in basically every objective mode. Speaking of which, Subway Station coming up next. If they lose that match and basically don't get the chance to get the momentum, do we think they'll be the same kind of team?
I think from what we've seen previously, because I'm going to refer back to some of my older notes, because I believe for the first time in our previous Go4, we did see Hyped Up at least drop a map. They'd gone so consistently through without even dropping a map. That kind of shows a level of dominance, but I believe the grand finals was V going up against them. So that was a some of the maps were close, but ultimately Hyped Up were able to take the win anyway. So they've been on the back foot before, but it's not been, I think, significant enough to really test them as a team. They've not really been on the brink of defeat. Yeah, lose a map here, lose one there. But if you're going to lose a map in grand finals, it's 3 out of 5. You actually have more wiggle room in that situation. So they've not really been pushed to the limit. And I'm just really wondering if that's going to happen today as well, because they looked very, very good in that TDM. It was a rough start, but the second they started to take the lead, it was hard to really snatch that momentum away. And that's kind of been the running theme with Hyped Up. And I think if there is one map that we can kind of see that tested again, it's probably going to be Subway Station, because King of the Hill was very, very, very momentum-based in itself, because you've got a lot of action taking place in the middle, but then it's about which team can kind of control the opponent's half better.
Well, I think that's an interesting talking point, though. It seems we did miss that first exchange, but teams seem to be pretty much dead even. These aren't the longest matches in the world, right? A match of Guns of Boom is 5 minutes maximum. So you don't have a huge amount of time to make those adjustments. And then at this point in the tournament, where it's going to be 2 out of 3, not best of 5, first to 3, you have less time to make that adjustment as a team. So I think it's going to have to be really important for Amplified to really bring their A game now and not waste any time. And it looks like that's exactly what they've done so far. Is they do have quite a stable lead, even though they have lost control of the point, and User is going to take aim assist down with a grenade.
Now that's the thing about aim assist. Not in particular, I mean that part of the map. I'm not sure I like that sniper location in this level of competition. I think obviously the purpose of that point is that it serves to be that vantage point, but with damage output being the way it is, where everyone has a Barracuda, everyone has a shotgun, and even while you're on the point, you kind of have vision up there anyway. I feel like the time it took aim assist to go up there and try and provide support just gave up all that time.
I will say Venom with an amazing sequence there, getting a triple kill and a grenade. That is a lot of points Hyped Up. Look at that point difference and a killing spree, no less. That was a straight up 2v1 off the back of a 1v1. Venom absolutely playing out of his mind so far, and we are merely just 2 minutes into this one.
And even before he went down, he did so much damage the rest of the team can clean up. That was fantastic, well played. And now we can see Talha and aim assist frighteningly weak. Jon Snow should be able to do a very easy pickup, running in between a rock and a hard place. I mean, pick your poison there. Do you want the guy in front or the guy behind?
Double kill also, Jon Snow doing well. You know, we have to remember, we say this every broadcast, but it never stops being relevant. When you get those multi-kills, you get those killing sprees, every single time it's something beyond just a normal kill, you do get increased points towards your team. And that is what we're seeing all the time. Jon Snow, I think he went a little bit too deep there, but is actually going to be able to trade it out team-wise. And the entirety of Amplified are just being kept up at their spawn location. I like this approach from Hyped Up. They have the people on the point, even though they did eventually drop down and Talha got a triple kill. Look at the point difference. That one sequence of just keeping Amplified in their spawn area has given Hyped Up a gargantuan lead.
They're somewhat trying to fight back, but they're taking so much damage in the process. They're simply going to trade 1-for-1. And with the lead that Hyped Up are currently looking at, a 1-for-1 trade is simply not going to cut the mustard. That wasn't even a pun I planned. That was just on the spot. I'm really sorry if you thought I was talking to you there.
Don't do it again.
Oh, wait.
Oh, dearie me. Talha, he has found them. That is a complete annihilation. Complete ambush, and Talha will be credited with a huge multi-kill.
I don't think it's enough, though.
I mean, that's the thing. Look at the difference. There's less than 100 to go.
You can make those really sick plays, but unfortunately, if they happen now, it's just too late. And with that in mind, we're already going to have a finished map. You know, Hyped Up, they were dominant from start to finish. They held control over the point for pretty much 90% of that. Yes, Amplified had a good start, but they had a good start in TDM as well. The second Hyped Up were able to snatch it away. They could not stop the train of momentum rolling, and that's continued throughout the course of these.
I mean, I think it's quite appropriate that we talked, you know, for days about the momentum of this team and how they are really that kind of team that really play on starting things off and keeping with it for the whole map, and that is exactly what we just saw there. I feel like as soon as they started to get that kind of early lead, I blinked and the game was over. You know, because it leads into constant control of the point. Every second, they're getting points after points after points. When they get kills, it's always a multi-kill, it's always a double kill, it's always a triple, it's always everything that is just skyrocketing that point count up. And to no surprise, Hyped Up find themselves in the grand finals with a 2-0 sweep all the way through for yet another time.
Very excited to see what our grand finals is going to entail, with Hyped Up remaining the real sort of behemoth of North America, kind of really keeping these storylines nice and consistent. That said, it's not going to be the end of Amplified. You know, these guys, yes, they're out of the grand finals running, but we will be seeing them again in the third place playoff, where they're going to be playing to see which of the two teams in that third place playoff situation will be taking home some cash money. So we're going to go for a little bit of a break momentarily while we set up our next match, which is going to be V versus Yakuza USA. I'm excited for this one because it would be great to see if Yakuza can make grand finals for the two regions, but if Yakuza can take 2 wins, then that's going to be quite a message to send throughout the rest of the competition as well. So we're going to go for a very, very short break and set up our next match. Don't go anywhere, because we'll be back momentarily with more Gun Taboo. Hello everybody and welcome back. This is the ESL Guns of Boom Go4 Finals for North America, and we have our second semi-final to find out which of the two teams left is going to make it into our grand finals for this recent Go4 Cup. It's going to be between V and Yakuza USA. We did see Yakuza do really well in our European Cup earlier today, actually taking that win for their respective region. So huge congratulations to them for another time. They played out of their minds, you know, taking down Knights of Honor, taking down back-to-back. It was a great result for that clan, but that's going to be one victory. If we can see the Yakuza clan take 2 victories in one day, that's going to be quite a nice message to send to the greater Guns of Boom community, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely. It was a bit of a tough act to follow, I think, considering, you know, the circumstances as to who it was they were able to beat and how well they were able to do in the end. That being said, they did 2-0 their way to this point in the tournament also, so I think they're clearly playing well today at the very least, but at the same time, V we've seen many times now on these broadcasts, and I'm sure are no slouches of themselves. That does mean we are now back at the same map rotation that we saw before, so we are going to be going back to Europe Streets for another time, followed by Subway Station, and then finishing things off again with Europe Square, which we are yet to see today. It has been 2-0s, I think, in every single part of this tournament. In every semi we've had so far today across Europe and North America has been a 2-0, so we're actually yet to see Europe Square today. I was prepared to see Europe Square on the European side when I believe it was actually back-to-back, but it was just the comeback was kind of snatched away last minute, so I was kind of almost like mentally preparing to go into that map 3 to kind of talk a little bit about the control point, but it didn't happen because I believe it was back-to-back.
Oh, we'll be guaranteed seeing it in 3rd place or grand finals because control is the first map, so don't you worry, you will get that control fix at some point today. Yeah, but we haven't seen Europe yet. Yeah, we haven't seen the Europe. Well, we've seen Europe play. We just haven't seen the Europe. I feel like that's a really open-ended statement there, like a bit too vague considering the context. It all gets very confusing, but I'm sure you guys and girls at home know what I'm talking about. So our first map being Europe Streets. I do think this is a great map to start things on because you get a nice mixture of different weapon types. But starting off with the team deathmatch is a great testament to really kind of see which teams bring the strongest game in terms of just getting the kills. You know, the kills are so important, and the only map, I think, or game mode that doesn't really specify kills as much is control point. You know, the rest of them are very much like, if your team is straight up better at killing people than our team, then you have that distinct advantage. I mean, kills are always going to be relevant in this game, right? You know, they're kind of built into the core of how you build score up, you know, and again, we talk about it a lot because it's always really important. And team deathmatch, that is literally the aim of the game, is get kills, get killing streaks, killing sprees, everything that you want, and build up that point amount. But we are going to be going into the semi-final. The winner is going to be facing off against Hyped Up in our grand finals for another time. Question is, which team is going to be the one to do so? Well, we can see V versus Yakuza USA. We have started off very slow indeed. No one wants to be that first blood. No one wants to push too hard. This patient play is something we can expect early on. Everyone's going to be kind of sort of feeling each other out a little bit. The surprise has landed. Snake doesn't manage to connect. The 2v1 with Optimus and Magneto. I actually love the approach from Optimus there, to be honest. He was sitting around the corner the whole time. Optimus getting 2 kills now thanks to his positioning. I'm actually really surprised Jen was not told by the rest of her team that there was someone right behind her. Because the second that death went down, absolutely in comms, normally surely Snake would have been saying, hey, there's someone there, turn around and watch out. But I'm assuming the call wasn't made. Maybe Divine King getting ambushed, it seems. Oh, gets a defensive grenade. Oh, the damage over time. Yeah, off the damage of that is able to return the kill. That was actually a really good trade for Yakuza, considering. Damage over time is such an underrated ability in this game, especially in Team Deathmatch where every single kill matters. If the damage over time and the flame effect of a lot of these weapons tick when you're so weak after winning a 1v1, it almost forces a trade regardless. So no one is better off in that situation. It's a great tool for Team Deathmatch, is those damage over time weapons. Divine King getting caught out in the open with his pants down, and Gentrix is going to take advantage of that situation with that full range Barracuda. I love the positioning, actually, using the gap. Oh, what a grenade! That preemptive. Oh, that was so well played from Gentrix as well, using the gap in between the crate and the wall, knowing that the instant fire ability of Guns of Boom on mobile, like, it's actually, the second you pick a hard angle, easy shots become possible. As you know, where you can see Divine King and Gentrix, they can see each other through the crack of those boxes, and they don't want to move up because they know if they do, they're going to take some damage. Magneto has got Jen right behind him, and she will annihilate Magneto from behind. And there's a butcher kill for J Master, but he will quickly get taken down, but not before getting a double for himself. A very back and forth game this time.
You kind of look at that situation and go, which would you rather trade, right? A double for one death, or even if you're slightly behind, is it going to be worth it? Gen scores another Barracuda kill. Magneto running face first, but he's going to drop to Gentrix. Snake gets another one, and Snake gets a double at that. J-Master falls down, and this is a great sequence for V right now.
Yeah, this has gone from being a complete back and forth map to V really starting to run away with this, as they are able to just keep these killing sprees, I should say, going. But is it a bit too much this early on, as there's a nice shot coming through from Corrupt. Good headshot, but Divine King getting a butcher kill from below, dying himself, and there's another trade. But now at this point, if they're going to keep trading kill for kill, V will 100% be in the driver's seat, considering their big lead.
Well, that lead can definitely be closed in on if some of the kills go a little bit more, I think, you know, colourful. If we start seeing a little bit more of those interesting kills, some doubles and some extra kind of things on top of that, then maybe a comeback is possible here. But right now, V keeping that steady lead. Yeah, that's the big thing here. Gentrix, I don't think I've seen Divine King.
Well, the lead is kind of
they didn't see
like
each other.
50, 60 points, kind of, you know, back and forth. As long as it's there for V, that's all they need.
Oh, headshot versus headshot right there. Destroyed.
Now, what's going to happen with this, though? Less than 2 minutes left on the clock. Have to remember, 500 points is the limit. We're quickly getting near that side. Magneto running in, catching Snake, throwing a grenade, but still able to get it off, and that is a lot of damage coming through. A double kill and a headshot. So much points adding up out of completely nowhere for V off the back of an amazing team fight on this corridor. Divine King going to shoot him as he tries to run away, but the damage really is done, and V now almost 100 points in the lead. This is a bad situation for Yakuza to be in.
V's location is actually really important because right here, when you can see people consistently sitting near the crates, you have vision over both of the respawns. If someone's going to run down in the middle of the street, you can see them from the top. If they go the far right-hand side, you can catch them on the opposite end. And if they spawn on the left, you basically see them right in front of you. You kind of get all three possible movement points covered in that one location.
Oh my god. Yeah, Gentrix.
Wrong side of town there, mate.
Wrong side there, absolutely. 3v1, did not want that fight. Now Yakuza, they are in a situation to bring this one back. V, they are close to the end, only 40 seconds left on the clock for sure. But this is definitely not an unwinnable situation for Yakuza. About how they play this round, they can't afford to trade out kills, which is exactly what they're doing here. But that's going to be 2. V still in the lead. Snake getting another kill. Every kill closer and closer to the end of the game. Divine King running in with a grenade, and the grenade plus a little bit of porcupine.
What a combo, actually. That was sick. And they've actually been able to bring things back. 1 point in the lead for Yakuza. This has kind of really fallen between V's fingers. They've tried to slow things down, but I feel like they've been somewhat trickling in one at a time. They've had a comfortable lead, and that's led to them being a little bit too antsy. They've pushed forward, and now they're losing.
I mean, they're being
1
defensive.
point? Are you serious?
Yeah, they can afford to. They can afford to be here and just sit defensively.
Oh my god! What? 1 point lead. And I mean, it was in V's favor for so long, but I feel like they just got too comfortable and they started to trickle in one at a time. And then the second Yakuza had that lead, 1 point in the lead, they transformed their game plan. And V, I don't think they were prepared for Yakuza to both turn it around and then sit on the lead the second they obtained it. I think Yakuza outplayed the living daylights out of V in that situation.
I think that's the biggest adjustment, though, was V were in the lead for the vast majority of that game, but then in the last 30 seconds or so, when the lead very much, like, by a hair's length slipped away from them, Yakuza were able to immediately go for that defensive style, right? They were like, right, we have the lead, time is now on our side. It's 1 point, but it's a lead nonetheless. And they were able to sit as a 4 in the distance, and I just don't think V were ready for that to happen. But to be honest, it does beg the question, why not? Because, of course, Yakuza had the opportunity to do that. Do you reckon V just didn't realize that, you know, the tide had shifted in such a fashion so quickly?
It was very close. I think that's the big thing. Maybe it was so close, they expected Yakuza to maybe try and expand the lead a little bit further. Maybe they thought Yakuza wouldn't be comfortable staying on a 1 point lead, because the second anyone goes down, you're talking a matter of 1 kill, and that's going to decide the entire match. Unfortunately for V, they just must have either underestimated, not realized in the short space of time, or just maybe not expected Yakuza to sit on the lead. Either way, it's definitely not going to be their problem, and Yakuza will be very happy to take that 1-0.
I mean, it's a turn of events for sure. You know, there comes a point in a match like that where you're losing and the time is starting to slip away that you're like, okay, right, we as a team, we're not going to win this one. Let's start thinking immediately about the next map, which of course is going to be Subway Station again. But that luxury was taken away at the absolute last second for V. So V are now going into this with that 1-0 deficit after winning for like 95% of that game. So here they are now facing elimination from the opportunity to make it to the grand finals off of winning the whole time. So this is one of those situations where they're going to have to collect themselves now, and whatever adjustment they've got to make, they've got to make it quick, because they do not have the luxury of another map to work with now.
So let's take a look at the subway station from a top-down angle and really look at some of the points that we kind of see the teams consistently push for. So obviously the center point, that middle location, that's going to be where the point is, and everyone's going to be trying to fight for it, of course. But I feel like it really comes down to how you want to take your sniper points. There's a combination of, there are some people that run in hyper-aggressive with the Porcupine early on, but there are other members of the team that like to kind of sit back, and you kind of have three different options, as you can kind of see from this top-down view. You know, we very rarely see people push in from the trains unless they're really trying to go for a sneak attack. They won't be able to sneak through the trains, though, unless there's already action taking place in the middle. So a lot of these ambush points and a lot of these pushes, it's entirely dictated by how the fight's going prior, because there's always going to be someone dropping, there's going to be someone fresh off the respawn, and it really comes down to how you can manage those group fights. Because if everyone dies at the same time, yes, you get a big push, but if you've all taken damage and then they push together after respawn, it's very difficult for you to recover. So it's all about taking minimal damage on the way in and really maximizing your damage on the way out when they try and come into you.
And playing around the fight that will no doubt be happening on the center point. You know, we've already seen a lot, and any of you that have played Guns of Boom or watched competitive Guns of Boom through our Go4 series over the last kind of month and a half or so, there are a lot of deaths in this game, you know, competitively. There's no real getting away from it, right? Like, you have limited ways to keep yourself alive. Guns do a lot of damage, and players are very accurate at this level of play. So you are basically on borrowed time once you've been alive for a certain amount of time. So there's always going to be a fight going on near that center point. It's a question of how do you as a team play around what's going on there. There's always a fight that breaks out right at the start that we're seemingly seeing players go towards now. First blood goes to Gentrix as he takes down Magneto.
Now we have a look at the situation right now in the middle. A bit of an even fight. Normally you kind of see one team destroy the rest, but it's not going to happen just yet.
No, so V, they do have an early lead. Now they're capturing the point as well. Remember, we're now on King of the Hill, so every second you control a point, you are going to get that point injection.
Magneto, I feel like, yeah, definitely on borrowed time. That's what we call a team wipe. All four members drop within quick succession. It means they can all spawn together, and it means they can attack together.
But it does mean they're now on the back foot 100%, although they are coming in, flying in together. That's 2 kills towards them. Gentrix able to take down Magneto anyway, but he will die, and Divine King with that long-range headshot. Look at the health he's got too. Very important to get that kind of kill when you're on this low health.
The danger is that Yakuza, they were consistently behind in the first map, and it was through a specific turn of events, I think, that allowed them to have a minuscule lead that they made the good call to sit on. I don't think you have the same luxury for that in King of the Hill. I think if you're a better team fight, you know, sort of composition, and if you're more dominant, it's really going to favor you in these King of the Hills. And I think that's why we're seeing V kind of run away with this one at this point.
But how much longer can they keep the lead, I wonder? Like you said, this is a very different style of map, a very different style of game mode. So we might not see Yakuza be able to bring things back to the way they did, especially when V are this far in the lead. Like, this is much, much bigger of a lead than we ever saw them have in the first game. It looks like they have completely switched on.
I mean, we're not even close to half done, and half the work for V has already been completed. You know, and they're just getting these kills, the rampage, headshot, that's going to be an extra. Yes, we see a double, but it's not going to be enough. Divine King gets one, but that's one small victory of many. That's going to be a double. Good start. No damage returned too, so that's actually a good situation for Divine King. Every kill here is now going to be increased points.
That is the kind of thing they need to turn this around. They need unreturned kills, regularly and plentiful.
A couple just short of a killing spree, which no doubt would have helped them out massively. Unfortunately, with that falling between their fingers, V has a significant lead.
But that was an amazing sequence from Divine King, but it was not enough to really plug the damage done. V, they're on 750 out of 1,000. Yakuza only just going over the 500-point mark. I kind of feel like this might be too big of a deficit to come back from, unless they could just have just a couple minutes of their lives right now. But I don't know how realistic that is, considering V, they have the positioning advantage. They're getting kills. They now have the safety net to work with. They can afford to just trade out kill for kill here. And there's 2 people on the point, both very low. Optimus and Magneto, they will survive. But for how long, I wonder? There's that much health left in Gentrix. So to take one down, he'll take out Divine King. No! But not a team player is there to repair the damage anyway. And V very, very close to tying things up to 1 map apiece.
I feel like they're getting so many kills right now, it's going to be very hard, nigh impossible for Yakuza to pull this one back. They're holding control over the point. The natural trickle of points is going to be a bit of a nightmare as is. And now with 60 left to go, I mean, that's a big ask to say, V, you're not going to get 60 points? Come on.
Well, especially when those situations happening, right? That's a 2-for-1 trade. V, they now have the opportunity to take the point again. Yakuza flying in, trying to stop it, but they are 1 kill away, and they will get it. Gentrix is able to take the map again. And to be honest, V looking like a completely different team in that second map.
And I think it goes to show that, you know, when those little sort of errors of calculation come through, when the time to recover points in, I think V are looking a little bit stronger there. Because the team deathmatch, it was in V's favor pretty much from start to finish, and it was that one fumble at the end that obviously had punished them with the entire map falling down. But the second it was time to almost like wake up, in a sense, you know, and make sure, right, let's not make those silly mistakes for another time in a row, that was a convincing win. I mean, there's no two ways about it. They just look like the stronger team. And now we're going into another objective mode. I would favor V in this too.
No, definitely. But I think that's the biggest thing around the difference from the first map to the other is obviously game mode plays a big part of it. Team deathmatch is very simple, very basic in the sense of just get kills and rack up the points. But as soon as you start going to King of the Hill and Control, it really does bring a new level of required synergy from you as a team, right? Because you're not just playing for kills anymore. You're playing for an objective, and it's an objective that really does define the game itself. You know, a lot of those times that we're seeing them trade out kill for kill. If you're the team that's controlling the objective, you're trading out kill for kill while passively just regenerating, or I say regenerating, adding up points every single second. And Control is like that, but like to the nth degree.
So we just talked about not really being able to see much of Europe Square throughout the control point because it just hadn't reached that point. We're going to get our wish right now because we're on a map 3. We're going on to our final one. This will obviously be the decider for the semi-final. And Europe Square, it's an interesting control point because we always know how important it is to hold the points. Let's have a quick look at the top down and really kind of see what we have our eyes set for. As you can see, it's a very interestingly shaped map. It's quite big. Definitely one of the bigger maps in the entire game.
No, absolutely. And it is one of those situations where obviously three points for two teams. Most teams tend to secure at least one they can right at the start, and then it really is a matter of contesting that center point. So as long as you have 2 out of the 3, your team is obviously going to be having quite an advantage. The question is being able to not only capture those points, but hold them. You know, clearly staying alive is quite difficult a lot of situations where, you know, players are accurate with grenade throws, they're dying frequently, so they always make sure they have 2 grenades to work with. Porcupines are so plentiful, so we will see C and A being a complete bloodbath in terms of shotgun and melee attack damage. Whereas B is a bit more open, you have a little bit more room to move around and, you know, try and play around the space, whereas those kind of side points really don't offer the same luxury. So it's going to be very much down to who can win those quick 1v1s and who can hold those points in those tense situations.
So it's a bit of a back and forth right now. This is our first 1-1 of the day. But I feel like, you know, we can't forget the fact that whoever wins this map is going to move on to face off against Hyped Up in the grand finals. But again, Hyped Up looked incredibly dominant. And it's been the running theme of the entire Go4s. The Hyped Up have been the strongest team so far. Whoever wins this is going to get the chance to maybe dethrone them. But again, because it's so close, I wonder that if you were going to have a hope in grand finals, you kind of needed this win to be incredibly dominant. You need to kind of match that level of play. But that said, it is a hard-fought fight, and whoever wins is definitely going to earn it.
Well, this is going to be the last map of the series. It looks like V are already here in force. Jen will be credited with first blood, getting her team at that nice early needed lead for 100 points, less than 20, well, about roughly 20 seconds in. Insane.
That's just going to be continuing that lead as well. A double kill within 30 seconds. That's a great way to begin. And on top of that, the more kills we see, the more points you see captured. That was a fantastic grenade, but I'm surprised he didn't move.
I was going to say, that is a prime example of why you don't push towards your opponent team's spawn. Because spawn protection giving you invincibility while you yourself are completely exposed and in the open, that is not going to be a situation that's good for you. And that 100-point lead that V had has now just completely slipped away and has been reduced to just over a 10-point lead, if that.
And at the same time, we're seeing the control majority being held by Yakuza USA at the same time. You know, as long as they get these fights, J-Master's going to score 2, double kill. Excellent stuff indeed. And now they can push towards the rest of the points. But at this point, you kind of make a choice, you know. Do we want to hold 2 points and then just have the majority advantage? Do we want to go for total domination? If we go for total domination, maybe we can start to run away with things. But if you do that, it's a big risk. And now it's given V an opening.
So we are completely dead even in terms of points, but it is Yakuza. They're currently holding on to the King of the Hills. They are getting that additional point boost in the middle. Those side points, I'm pretty sure even right now. I believe V controls one and Yakuza has the other.
So there's definitely a fight for the center. That fight's going to go in the favor of V, who are now going to be rewarded with a dominant point advantage. Instead of going to let them run away, the fight going in their favor means they already have the lead, and the extra points is going to simply be an exclamation point on top of an already good start.
Okay, Jen getting a double kill. That's going to do a good amount of work for V. Now, does Jen go for this point? Looks like that's what she's doing. We can see that Yakuza are all going for the middle. Looks like Magneto is coming here to stop her. He does have the armor advantage, but can she take that down?
The surprise coming in from Corrupt and team player.
Oh, yeah,
for someone called not a team player, that was a great team maneuver.
Yes, indeed. Looks like V completely forward the defending point B in order to keep Gen alive and take that extra point, and then they came in again as a group, weren't quite able to keep control of B. But by then, that is quite a distance that V have managed to drive between the two teams now.
Divine King just got clipped on the way. A lot of damage, and that's going to allow Gen to secure a double kill, really putting in this work.
I think the keyword, though, is another double kill. She is absolutely having the game of her life right now. A lot more kills coming through. It really is corrupt, though, that star player right now, looking at almost 260 points. Doing a great job for the team so far. As now we are approaching the later stages of this map. V, they are convincingly in the lead. Optimus, did he get the kill? No, he misses the follow-up. But to be honest, even if he did get the kill, it looked like there was going to be outnumbered anyway. Divine King able to keep control of B for Yakuza. Now, actually, looking like to plug the gap a little bit.
Very much so, and if they can get a couple of good fights, if they can maintain control, we cannot count them out. This is still totally possible. As we draw to the 100-point mark, that's where it gets more dangerous. Corrupt does manage to win that situation. Very fortunate, even though Gentrix no doubt would have followed up, but now we're kind of reaching that near impossible stage. They have too many points and too much control, and it's going to be smooth sailing from here, Mustard. Yeah, they're just trying to get hold of C now. If they can capture this, we don't even need it. That's going to be it. The kills they get defending their turf is going to be what they need to push over. And that does mean that our grand finals today is going to be Hyped Up versus V, in what should be quite an interesting showdown. Well, the question's going to be, can Hyped Up maintain their streak? V have brought it to them in the past, so, you know, they simply have to try and one-up their previous result. But as you can see on this map, it's all about not really group fights, it's just about the situation you get from them. It's not about the kills, it's about how you capitalize from a death or a kill. You know, if you're in a situation where you can push, it's great. But if you die, what is your next port of call? Why are you going to push in towards a point? Are you going to try and maybe go, you know, from 2 points to 1? They all make a big difference, but you got to be super, super synced up. And I think that V, they just made some better judgment calls. They sort of split into fights a little bit better, which meant that they were able to put Yakuza behind, and when they're behind, they can't fight for points. Absolutely. But that is going to be it. We will be seeing more from Yakuza, though, going into the third place playoff match, which I believe is up next. So even though they don't have a chance at winning the tournament anymore today, they can still go for that third place. You have to remember, third place today does take home some prize money. Fourth place takes home nothing. So there's still all the reason to give it your 110%, especially if you want to make sure that this evening you're at least going to be going home with a little bit of change. Well, that means we have a third place playoff to set up for. So while we prepare our next matchup, go and grab a beverage, go do a little bit of errands, and we'll be back in 3 minutes' time with the third place playoff. time for our third place playoff. My name is Ketchup, and I'm joined on the desk by Mustard, and this is the ESL Guns of Boom Go4 Finals for North America. I'm really excited to see what our next matchup is actually going to be, because this is one of the final moments before our European Invitational that we'll just do that. It doesn't matter. You guys can't see it. This is the final moment that basically the teams are going to be playing for some cash. Sorry, just a really, really, really funny joke like seconds before we're live. This is a commentator's nightmare, is when something hilarious happens right before we go live, and it's just impossible. It's straight up impossible.
There's no ignoring it, but it is literally your job to ignore it, so it's fine. Let's proceed with the tournament. We have a third place playoff match to get underway and a bracket to look at, if we can, at some point, to see how things have gone. But even then, we know what team is going to be playing. It's going to be a good one, to say the least.
For sure. We're going back into our 3 out of 5 territory, so we're going to get some extra maps to work with. We're going to see a little bit more of the game as always. And rotation-wise, starting off with the farming complex, military warehouse, and then finishing things up on Paradise Island, if it's going to be a 3 straight. But if it comes to it, we have the skyscrapers as well, and then finishing the job with Wild West. And I feel like in the Go4, we haven't really seen the Wild West picked very much. It has not that it's not been popular, because obviously it's in the rotation. It's just that there haven't been close enough games to reach that final frontier.
We seem to rarely get down to a map 5, which is it's unfortunate just for seeing what the game has to offer and how the players can take place, you know, on these kind of extended series. But it's understandable. If a team is just way more dominant than the other one, and there is just a clear skill gap between the two of them, then it's just part of it, right? There's no real getting away from it. That being said, I think starting off with Farming Complex is, as always, a really good way to start off, because it is the only control map in this rotation, and it's such an important game type to be able to play as a team. And when you get to this point of play, the synergy is there, the coordination is there, and you can really see it in their gameplay, but it's the start of the rotation. So there's no real warm-up time to getting used to it. It's just like, you know, bam, you go and you start, and your team is now playing control. So
what I was trying to say before I couldn't contain my laughter was that this is the final time before our European Invitational that teams are actually playing to decide who gets money and who doesn't. You know, the payout only really goes between top 3 teams. It's first, second, and third, and if you're fourth, you get nothing, but the experience is going to be valuable. I mean, absolutely, in this level of play, the experience is invaluable. That said, when you get this late in a tournament, no team wants to go home empty-handed. You know, everyone wants to try and go home with something, and even then, it's not going to be a bad day in the office playing Guns of Boom with your friends and your teammates and getting some cash for it. So everyone's going to try and at least try and play for that at the very least.
So I believe, as this is going to be Amplified versus Yakuza, I think it's going to be quite hard to call. Of course, Yakuza had a bit of a closer series, but you know, in Amplified defense, they were against Hyped Up, who are clearly the #1 team in America right now. So it's kind of hard to judge on previous results, because every single team that we just watched did 2-0 their way to the semifinals, which we just saw. So I think both teams are definitely capable of having kind of stomp series themselves if they can get the right kind of, I suppose, momentum going. Being that this is now going to be 3 out of 5 territory, so now obviously the big change is the team is going to have to be the first to win 3 maps as opposed to 2. You do have that extra wiggle room, but also extra work to do. So I think these sets do tend to favor the teams that are kind of more consistent across the board, and those that don't tire easily, that can really play those longer series at 100%.
Yeah, definitely. And as you can see, there's the rotation. Farming Complex is quite a foreshadowing way to start a 3 out of 5, I always find, because it really kind of shows which team has a better grasp over objectives. You know, yes, this is the first and last time in this rotation we see control point picked, sure, but that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, it's going to be if you're good at control point, that's it, because this map and the way you have to approach it means that if you're good at fragging, you're great. If you're good at controlling points, you're great. If you can combine the two better than the other team, it's going to be your map to win.
Well, I guess the question is, who is going to be better at playing on this kind of mode from the get-go, as we are moments away from getting into this first map. Who are you personally expecting to see do well here?
Well, I think we've seen both of these teams do exceptionally well in previous tournaments. Amplified, there's no getting around the fact that I do think they kind of drew the short straw in the semis by having to face against Hyped Up. You know, by all means, we could have said maybe Yakuza would have fell short against them too, who knows. That said, Yakuza did have some insanely clutch moments, so we'll see who can pull forward. But right now, perhaps Amplified. Maybe this is their time to shine.
We'll find out over the next 5 minutes in this third place player. Remember, the winning team goes home with some money and the losing team gets nothing. So you definitely want to be the final one to fall at that hurdle to get nothing for your time. Of course, it's going to be Yakuza with that early lead, but in this kind of game mode, it really could go either way. It's always hard to call. It's always hard to call, I suppose, that point lead early on, because with so much of the map left to go, it really could go either way. But Jack is going to be getting a nice multi-kill, but returned immediately by Yakuza. Yakuza keeping this lead firm.
And now with the point taken in the middle, Yakuza have a fantastic start.
Talha, oh no, Talha completely stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Jack trying to come in and is actually going to get the 1v1, and J Master has already committed to his ambush on the side point, which he will actually die for. It's not a great situation for him, and Yakuza, their lead is now 200 strong and climbing.
And I feel like at this point, Yakuza have been playing so well, they're simply going to extend. You know, Amplified really have to sort of pull off quite an incredible play here. The coordination from Yakuza just seems a little bit more significant. They're just winning the fight. These savage porcupine shots.
That was one shot away from being a complete wipe on the point, but wasn't meant to be. Jack is able to take B now for Amplified, and Yakuza, they did lose somewhat of the point control, but as you can see, the score at the top of the screen is still quite a difference. They have over double the points of Amplified right now, looking to keep that going. Amplified managing to find that multi-kill, controlling a point for themselves. The center point, however, still being controlled by Yakuza. And another kill coming through. Jack very low on C. It's going to be very hard for him to hold on to this.
Talha able to sort of sneak in there at the last minute, really doing what he does best. I really like the positioning coming out from Talha, but unfortunately it's not going to be enough because J Master, Divine, J Master again, they work so well together. J Master's always kind of in the forefront, getting those crazy kills whenever you watch him play.
Now he's actually trying to loop around. Talha trying to head him off, and he will get the kill. Makes you wonder if J Master was just trying to do some misdirection there. But in the time it's taken, Yakuza, look at that point difference still. It seems they're always at least 300 points ahead no matter what. Every single time Amplified get anything going, usually Talha just going on some crazy streak just isn't enough. I think a big part of that comes down to just the point control. Like Yakuza constantly have this side point that Savage is trying to take down.
And whenever you don't have control and you're forced onto a location to try and take it, unfortunately means the rest of the other team can basically kind of really focus in there. We saw, you know, someone trying to take A right there, and during that, B was being taken at the same time by Yakuza, and it's basically you're going to be trading it back and forth rather than establishing a level of control. And there we go, it's going to be B versus A for another time. Yakuza have a significant lead here, and I'll be surprised if they can't pinch this one out.
Well, they have 100 points to go, and Amplified are 400 off. So I think at this point, we are closely reaching the moment where it's almost impossible for Amplified to bring it back.
Natural climb, right? Natural climb combined with frags. And I think this has to be Yakuza. Oh. Yeah, I mean, this is guaranteed. Yeah. Pack it up. This is going to be the map over. And Yakuza USA very dominantly and comfortably take map number 1.
And there we go. That is going to be the ticking down points of each second, right? Control points. It's 2 points per second per capture point. And that is exactly what they were able to keep hold of for basically the entire game. I don't think there was a single point of that map that they weren't constantly getting points every single second, and I think that's just good team play, good knowledge and awareness of the map, and just making the most of it.
Absolutely, which means our next map is going to be the military warehouse. And from how we see the fights going, again, I do think I actually am starting to favor Yakuza here. Whenever the fights took place and it was, you know, 2 of us versus 2 of you, Yakuza basically just came off better in those exchanges. They made better decisions, and we have seen already Yakuza pulling off an insane amount of clutch in Team Deathmatch during the semi-finals. Yes, they weren't able to quite conquer V, hence they're in the 3rd place playoff situation. But that said, it didn't stop them from making some great decisions as a team.
Well, I think we have to remember that a big part of playing Control is being able to win those 1v1 duels, those 2v2, you know, tag, effectively, you know, those 2v2 matches. But to be honest, that is one of the places that Yakuza were by far the most effective. You know, they're able to hold on to so many points because they're winning all the fights, because they're winning all the crucial 1v1s. They're just playing around it better. So now when you're taking away the fluff of objectives and you're just focusing on combat, that still seems to be somewhere that Yakuza is definitely, I suppose, on the better end of, at least in that map as well. So if we can see them go to 2-0, I think if they win this military warehouse and it's just as dominant, I'll be very surprised if we don't see a 3-0.
For sure. I think the result we kind of expect is going to be completely almost foreshadowed by the map that we're about to see. You know, with the warehouse being a great map to kind of decide if you're a better team fight, then it's great because you've got the distance from the spawn. It is very, very flat. You know, we mentioned this in the European side of our bracket, and it's the same in North America. You know, the thing about the military warehouse is that it's not really elevated. It's completely flat. If you land those headshots, you kind of maintain your crosshair on that set location, and because the character models are the same size, mobility is kind of universal, with the exception of, you know, speed bonuses from maybe your pants or the weapons that you have selected. It means that if you're consistent and you have a good amount of game knowledge, the military warehouse is a good map for you. It's going to be amplified in Yakuza for another time. We're going to see if they can really pinch this one. It's going to be quite difficult because Yakuza are looking pretty dominant so far.
Well, there's going to be that fight. That middle building is a very common kind of contention point for the teams. It looks like all of Amplified is sitting there ready to go. J-Master runs in, gets one of them. To be honest, the fact that he was able to kill one of them, considering he went straight into the jaws of death.
The belly of the beast.
Yes, indeed. And Divine King is going to be getting it. And again, Yakuza were able to win that first fight. This could be foreshadowing for the rest of this map.
You would think so, wouldn't you? About double the lead at this point in time. J-Master gets one shot. It's going to be a 3v2.
Definitely chased it, as did J-Master. They definitely got a bit of tunnel vision there, trying to finish that kill onto Savage, but it wasn't meant to be. But Yakuza still slightly in the lead, but to be honest, at this point, 20 points, I should say, not really that much of a difference.
Sometimes the matches are so fast, I think these split-second decisions, at the end of the day, you're going to be either right or wrong. You know, they've made some bad judgment calls, but it hasn't been enough to hinder them. Yakuza still in the lead. That said, with Jack securing that kill, they have been able to pinch the lead away because now aim assist secures another one. And just like that, they've run away with it. No aim assist, though, is quite weak. Even with this health on board, one good sniper shot's going to seal the deal. Divine King wins the 1v1. Excellent grenade throw.
The fact that it's a grenade kill obviously can give them that little bit extra points when you are this close to bringing the team back into it, back into first place. Very important to get those special kills if you can. Optimus, nice long-range sniper shot. We can see that from the Barracuda getting the ammo back. Oh, another kill. They're going around. Savage completely gets snuck up on. Actually seemed a bit like Yakuza. Really got the best of Amplified there. Amplified kind of caught just standing out in the open, it seems, not watching the sides.
That's the one. Barracuda on a body shot will kind of deal with half that body armor. You want to aim for those headshots for the increased damage output. Savage gets a grenade kill. We'll see if that's going to be enough to get something started.
See Amplified, they're opting to step back, really regrouping it. And J-Master making the same mistake again. Was actually able to trade out the kill at the very least. But we saw that before. J-Master aggressively running around that left-hand side and the entirety of Amplified sitting there ready to go. Divine King getting a ton of Barracuda shots.
I mean, one thing J-Master did get there was a nice amount of data. He was able to see where everyone on Amplified was. So even though he had fallen down, it actually allowed the rest of his team to pick their locations for the sniper and pick them off one by one. Because of that, Yakuza were able to get a killing spree into a massive amount of points, and they have a significant lead at this point.
Divine King getting that defensive grenade throw before he dies, but not really able to be followed up from. However, J-Master running in from behind. He definitely has snuck up on Amplified right now, but what more can he get from it?
Well, we'll soon find out. Talha, does he win the 2v1? He does! A double knife kill! That was insane!
Nice chunk of points also, as we are basically deadlocked. To be honest, I kind of expected this to be a little bit more convincing for Yakuza, considering what we saw before, but Amplified really have turned up to play. But there it is. There's the grouping from Yakuza coming out, even though the kill was traded out. Divine King will drop down and not be able to get the kill at all, and Amplified now pulling away in the lead.
Looked a little bit like Divine King was unsure what target he wanted to aim for right there, because there was about 3 of them, all kind of within porcupinable life, but unfortunately able to not pick out the one they wanted, and because of that, just not even the chance. It wasn't their choice to make. Here comes the group fight in the favor of Yakuza. They get another one. Divine King and J-Master combined. That was insane. And now they have a lead significantly.
It's a shame. We saw Savage almost try and spring the trap there, but wasn't able to get a kill before he eventually fell. Unfortunately for him, J-Master sitting down at no armor, so he's going to have to be careful, but still the damage that can be dealt from a distance. You can see Optimus around the side. We see them chase it. Amplified are running in. There's 2 people up front. Do they know? There's a 2v1, an instant death. Magneto will take Savage out immediately.
Oh, the surprise. Talha contributing towards Jack getting that, but the 2 of them actually fall collectively. It's very close, but Yakuza 105 points, and they're going to make this a 2-0. We did mention that's going to be kind of danger territory for Amplified if it reaches Paradise Island and they're yet to get a single map.
But there's the distance coming through. Divine King getting hit by a body shot there, deciding to regroup with Yakuza. And this is one of those interesting turning points. If Yakuza win this, that'll be 2-0. That's quite an advantage to have. But if Amplified could do it, we're back even at 1 map apiece. And that's what they need. The question is, will they get it? As we go into this last, less than a minute left, almost 30 seconds of this final game. They run in as a team. Jack is going to get 1 of them. He's going to get 2. That's a double kill. Close to the lead, but not quite enough. He will actually fall down. Talha drops to Optimus.
Optimus doesn't want to overextend, but so much to the point where we see somewhat of a fumbled grenade throw, not quite around the corner, but with no damage returned, it's not going to be a huge issue. We are going to lose a grenade, though. Savage completely snuck up on J-Master, gets the ambush. No damage returned as well, so J-Master, that's just going to be a free kill. And is this going to be enough?
10 seconds and about an 80-point lead, and much of it is enough. J-Master getting close. That's an opportunity. That's 1 chance. Talha, yeah, 3 seconds. That's going to be it. Yakuza, yeah, and there's enough points. There was no way that Yakuza were going to be dropping down as soon as we hit about that 10-second marker. And Yakuza with some solid play and some solid grouping at the end there, able to go up to 2-0 now in this third place playoff set.
Amplified were forced into a very awkward situation by the end of that. You know, the second we kind of reached that 5-minute mark, and it's kind of like 10 seconds, maybe 15, 20, and you have a significant decline in points. When you're in those shoes, you have no choice but to make something happen. You can no longer be defensive because you know that the winning team is going to sit there patiently sitting on their lead, and you have to just try and press the advantage. The second you are forced to do something like that, and they know you have no choice, I mean, the ball's in their court. They can play as defensive as they like. They can pick all of the angles because they know with 100% certainty you're going around that corner or you're going to go through that door.
So going into our third and potentially final map now in Paradise Island, obviously back to King of the Hill now. A very map control heavy map, you could say. I know that kind of really does apply to anything in theory that's objective based, but this truly is the kind of map where if you are controlling that center point and you have the spawn of the opponent team on lockdown, it's very hard to kind of break out of that. And I think that is a style that we saw Yakuza able to adopt perfectly in the first game. Seeing them do it here would almost be a guaranteed win if they can get the same level of control established. And
Yakuza, they didn't look completely helpless versus V on the subway station either. And that's one of the things as well, is they've looked really comfortable in every single map. The Paradise Island, I think, is definitely what you would say is one of the most aggressive King of the Hills because it does come down to the knowledge of the spawn. It is the strategy we see pretty much the entire time. We do actually have a drop down of the Paradise Island to show you guys. And it kind of goes into what we talked about earlier, you know, where you kind of have that center point, ambush locations on the bottom of the map. And basically, once you kind of establish the middle section, it really becomes your choice as a team to try and push a little bit further out. You know, a good defense can sometimes be a damn good offense. And on Paradise Island, I think that really is like the statement of how to conquer the map.
It's just hard to do that, right? And I think we say this all the time about King of the Hill because it really is difficult, because not only do you have to control the King of the Hill objective as a team, you have to then hold it. But by then, you might have used a lot of your ammo, you might have used a lot of your health items, you might be out of grenades. So it really comes down to raw positioning and communication, which is something, you know, unfortunately we have no opportunity to listen to the communications from the players and listen into what they're saying. But that is the kind of thing that is super important to being able to control this map the way we've seen the best teams in the world be able to do so. It requires you to take the point convincingly, not to lose too much health in the process, maybe keep some ammo back, maybe don't use all your grenades, but you only get 2. So it's like, do you use them to take the point? Do you use them to hold it? It's these kind of decisions that these teams are going to have to make in those split-second moments.
But split-second moments is where you don't have the largest amount of time to think whether your decision is a good one or not. That's the difficulty some teams are starting to have. I think, you know, once we kind of draw closer and closer to the end of the round as well. But Yakuza, you know, they kind of made the decision of the day, really, when we saw them against V, and it was 1 point. You know, just to remind anyone that may have just joined us, there was a team deathmatch just now that Yakuza won, where they were basically behind the entire time, and they secured 1 extra point with about 30 seconds left, and they just set up shop. And they defended the whole way, and through 1 point alone, giving up no kills, they won through point limit. So I think the fact they have that fortitude at this level of competition definitely means they're not really a team to be underestimated, and their 2-0 result currently shows that maybe they will be the team taking 3rd place, and they're going to have a nice little chunk of cash, at least. You know, we're not going to see them in the grand finals because this is the 3rd place playoff at the end of the day. But not going home empty-handed is going to be the objective here.
But we're definitely not going to be pretending that 2-0 is an easy thing to come away from, to be able to kind of, you know, really bring it back. Because now, if they want to be able to win this in retaliation from a 2-0 deficit, that's a straight 3-map win they have to do. They have to win 3 before Yakuza have to win 1. That is going to be difficult, especially when they're riding this kind of like consistency together as a team, going into an objective mode that we know they are good at. And Amplified definitely have it stacked against them going into this, what could be final map of the 3rd place playoff.
Well, Yakuza as a clan have had quite the day, and I think getting both clans into at least top 3 across Europe and North America is going to be quite an impressive feat. And with the start that we've just seen from Amplified, though, what a stir.
I can't believe it. Have Yakuza swapped in a sub, as we can see Angerby is now in the lineup.
Yeah, potentially. We have been seeing people swap in subs all day for sure, so I wouldn't put it past them.
Okay, well, that's going to be it. Unfortunately, not a great start for Yakuza at all, as Amplified are able to pretty much annihilate at the start with 200 points already. That's actually quite incredible.
It's one of the fastest spur of points we've seen. It does mean that Yakuza are they're in a very sort of precarious position where they've got to be hyper-aggressive, and they kind of need to get a momentum shift just as good. That said, kind of looks like they're on the verge of pulling it off.
I was going to say, what happened? They were down by like 200 points, and now in about 20 seconds, they aren't anymore. I guess goes into the real benefits of those killing sprees coming up if you can have an amazing life. A great sequence. Talha sitting in the back here with a sniper rifle trying to get in, but a point-blank grenade is actually going to...
They just
butchering each other. Yes, that's exactly what that was. And now Yakuza barely behind now, from a complete 200-point near enough deficit to, well, maybe not quite that much, but to now winning after being down quite a considerable amount. Very impressive from Yakuza.
Having a start that rough and then coming back instantly is very impressive stuff indeed. It means that the team is kind of well seasoned at this level of competition. You know, we know all these players that have been taking part in these Go4s consistently now, showing that the stress of the competition doesn't mean much to them. You know, it's not really going to shake them or tilt them beyond any kind of normal amount. I mean, look how well they're playing. Yakuza, would you even tell they had a horrific start with the point lead they currently have? I definitely wouldn't.
No, absolutely not. And he's going to miss that kill, though. Unfortunately, the Porcupines really are shining supreme. Amplified, able to get the point back now for the first time since their lead kind of slipped away from them. Question is, can they now establish this? They've got quite a lot of health between them, but Divine King will say no to that, but will die himself anyway as no aim assist. To get a nice return kill. Yakuza, though, they are still in the lead. We are just trading kill for kill, and Yakuza now able to get hold of the point once again.
Angerby is going to try and do anything he can, but you can only really do so much when you're that weak, especially when you're kind of within the center of the point. There's no really way anyone's going to miss you there. J-Master being defensive savage, taking a bunch of damage, can't really get sniped by anything. The ambush coming through. Jack really fumbles that one. I'm surprised J-Master didn't fall.
Okay, but Savage, despite taking so much damage on the way into the point, is able to still survive it, and now Amplified find themselves in the lead again. But again, here's the age-old problem. God. They used so much resources to take the point, they didn't have a lot to hold it. And Divine King is actually in the middle by himself. Oh no, doing a grenade point blank at his teammate's face. That was a bit rude.
It's the wrong person there, buddy. Oh, J-Master with another surprise attack.
Ooh.
And as it's a butchered kill, it's going to be a nice extra amount. Aim assist. Killing spree is going to give him a chunk of points right there.
Now we are basically locked even, dead even now. Amplified, though, they are holding on to the points. They do have that benefit of that constant ticking points. J-Master trying to flank round from the side. They get a kill here. It's crucial that he gets this one, and he will. He still has a little bit of armor to go as well. They're going to burn down thanks to the fire. J-Master going forward, getting shot behind, but there's the quick turnaround on Savage. And now there's an opportunity, Yakuza. They're going to take the point, but look, they don't have a lot of health whatsoever to kind of hold this. Optimus trying very hard here just to hold on to it. Angerby point blank trying to get those Porcupine kills. He has the follow-up. Optimus with a triple kill as well. Just out of nowhere, they've managed to seize control of the lead again.
Optimus loses the 1v1 to Talha, who then falls to Divine. I think this is so late. This has to be Yakuza's map, unless they pull off a massive combo right now.
I mean, Savage is on the point, but he is quite low. Walking onto the grenade and won't even need to. And Yakuza are able to secure the final point to a 3-0 lead in the third place playoff. Very impressive.
Yakuza have had quite the day. They were able to take the European Cup, and they were able to get top 3 within the North American Cup as well. So congratulations to these guys. I know they're going to be feeling not 100% because they weren't able to make it into the grand finals, but if you're going to be in third place, you've now at least been able to secure yourself a little bit of cash. But that does lead in to now what is going to be our grand finals. I'm really excited for this one, purely because the story's going to be hyped up. Are they the kings
Can anyone stop
above
them?
Kings? You know, are they the go-to teams? I don't know. That's the question. We're about to find out. V, they've been able to bring it to hyped up a little bit in the past, but they're unable to get a win just yet in our streamed Go4. They have taken some maps before, so that's going to be a start. You know, it's not going to be a complete clean sweep. And as you can see in the bracket itself, hyped up, they're pretty much familiar with those 100% win rates in the bracket. So if they can take this 3-0, then, I mean, what more do you need to say?
Well, we'll see if they can or not. As I think we said before, it's a very momentum-heavy, very snowball-focused team, and today that snowball just hasn't stopped rolling. So we know they're going to be going into this finals very confident, very ready for that, knowing they are already champions in this game, and they are one series away from being champions for a third time.
Well, we have our grand finals. It's our final match of the stream for this Go4. We're going to go for one final break and set up the grand finals. And while we do that, see you in a little bit, in a few minutes.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the ESL Guns of Boom Go4 monthly finals for North America, where now I'm doing this because apparently someone is struggling with it today. So don't worry bro, I've got your back. I'm here for you. When things get rough, you can always count on Twin Brother Mustard to save you.
The grand finals is going to be Hyped Up versus V, and I think Hyped Up have definitely been the strongest team going into these different Go4s. However, the time might come now to make a statement. And
Yes,
for V to show that they are, within that level. I think that's one of the things about the American Go4 is that it has been more difficult for the North American teams to show that there is more than one top dog than it has been for Europe. Because Europe, we kind of have the almost like the back and forth between back-to-back. We have Knights of Honor, and right now, obviously, we have Yakuza who were able to take the European tournament today in very, very swift fashion. Taking out the two teams to beat. It was a great result for them. But in North America, I just don't think that's been as consistent. It's basically been Hyped Up and then everyone else underneath them.
I mean, there is clearly a very high level that North America are able to achieve, but there's kind of like the wave of very strong teams in America, and then above them is this kind of like towering behemoth that is Hyped Up, that is consistently just playing the best on the day, basically just winning all of the events that we've had so far on stream. The question is, can they do so completely unchallenged? We've seen Europe were able to stop that happening to them. The question is, can North America follow suit and stop it happening to them as well? But as this is best of 5 grand finals territory, we have the same map rotation that we had before. So we'll be starting off on Farming Complex with some control, and then moving on to Warehouse, Paradise Island, Skyscrapers, and then Wild West Saloon.
The thing about Hyped Up's level of dominance within the scene right now is that, the real money comes from the North American Invitational situation by the end of the year. That's the thing. There's so much money to play for there, $120,000 US. And if you're the #1 team in North America by a significant margin, surely if you're Hyped Up, it's like, let's just keep doing what we're doing, and then we're going to have a big fat payday at the end of the year. But at the same time, you don't want it to be just one dominant team in North America, and you don't want it to have to be Europe are the saviors, where we're going to see Hyped Up challenged maybe when Europe enters the fray, but I think this is why in tournament at this grand final setting, it's now V's opportunity to show there's more than one top team in this part of the pond.
It will be exciting, but we will have to wait and see whether that's how it pans out. I think they're definitely capable. I think of any team in the bracket today that could really bring it to Hyped Up, V are probably some of the top contenders to do that, based on what we've seen from them in the past when they've had to play this matchup and how I've seen them play today. Of course, there's no getting around the fact that Hyped Up definitely had a way more dominant way to the grand finals. So I think we can't really, ignore the fact that they are playing super, super strong for the rest of this. But going into this first map, Jon Snow is able to spill the first blood immediately, and that is not a great way to start if you don't want Hyped Up to just roll over you.
Oh my. So almost 100 points of an advantage pretty much right off the bat. Straight off the starting point.
I will say though, we've seen that happen a lot. One team will win the first fight and get a ton of points for it, and then the other team will just respawn and return the favor. Now they're lower. Gentrix on a grenade. Oh, look at how low he is.
I wish I could see Gentrix HP right there, because that had to be within about 10 or so. That is insanity. Somewhat the lead was taken, but Hyped Up recovering nicely, and they've asserted a little bit of dominance. They're starting to take 2 points at the same time. That's going to force V to make a decision. They're going to go for C, and they're going to be trying to go for some range damage, but I like the positioning from Hyped Up. It's going to be kind of hard to pick them off. They're going to be taking C back. Can they do the same thing with B? That's the question.
Now Hyped Up, they are in the lead, but still early days. Plenty of opportunity for V to bring this back as they slowly try to do so, but Venom getting credit with a double kill. And that's going to be 2 points they control once again. Venom definitely does not have the health to actually try and seize control of B, but no, Stark with a headshot from a distance, waiting for Corrupt to come out, and he will fall for it. Hook, line, and sinker. Stark going in, getting another kill point blank, a headshot no less. Was that a point blank headshot? With the Barracuda.
Looked quite close to it, didn't it? Unless we just saw the most rapid weapon switch known to man.
I definitely think that was a Barracuda headshot from point blank. That is not easy to do.
That is clutch. You have to go for the wind-up time. You have to prepare as well. Excellent double kill.
Look at the point difference already. I feel like you take 10 seconds to point out a good headshot, and probably not even that. 700 points to almost 400. Hyped Up have completely just ran away with this one out of seemingly nowhere. But I think a big part of it comes down to the point control. We say this before about control, and it really always is correct. The more points you control, the easier time it is for you to win, and that really is where Hyped Up have shone in this game so far. Not a team player, going to go down a killing spree now of a user, giving himself that extra injection of points as they now proceed to take more of them. A combo breaker coming through from Corrupt, that's what he needs, but butchered by Venom. That is not what you want to happen.
There is a lovely amount of even workload. Let's take a look at the bottom left-hand side for Hyped Up. Just look at how many points it's being split straight down the middle. And I think that's a really good representation of just how well Hyped Up work together. They're going to take this map, and they're going to take it dominantly, and this could be one of the fastest 1-0s of the tournament thus far.
Maybe, as we've just gone past the halfway point in terms of time limit, but we are 1,100 points out of 1,200. Venom, very, very close to almost taking this to the team straight away. Now, this is guaranteed points. There is no way Hyped Up lose now. They're just every second ticking down, and V have just passed the halfway mark. This is 1,000% done and dusted.
I mean, the second you kind of realize that you get halfway, and by the time you've hit that point, the other team have already won, that can be quite soul-crushing, I think. I mean, that is just dominance in every shape and every form. Hyped Up gave us one of the fastest maps of the day, and Farming Complex is normally one of our longest.
That is not what we expect to see that kind of result, 100%, because not only do you have to... So to win that dominantly on Farming Complex, you need to control most of the points, you need to win most of the fights, and you need to make sure that you're alive for a long time, because that kind of point difference doesn't just come from getting kills and taking points. That is 1,000%. Many killing sprees, many multi-kills, a ton of headshots. And it seemed like every time we'd see Hyped Up get a kill, we'd see the headshot marker. These guys are just super accurate. And we said before, and we'll say it again, this is a momentum-heavy team whose momentum has not been stunted a single time today. If they now go into team deathmatch with that momentum, this is a scary situation for V to be in.
Absolutely, because the only time we see Hyped Up perhaps struggle is at the very beginning. Some teams have been able to take somewhat of an early lead, but that early lead has been a matter of seconds, not even minutes. You know, they have a lead for a little bit of time, and then one good group fight in Hyped Up's favor, and they're laughing. They run away with it, and that momentum just continues to go. And it is the snowball effect of Guns of Boom, which is going to be ever so prominent. If you're going to play this game at a high level, you've got to be prepared to try and stop the giant when it starts to roll. You know, it's difficult to do.
I feel like all of Hyped Up are probably in the lobby right now, just like mashing ready up, like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, keep going, keep going, keep going. Because now we're going into Warehouse, which is, again, one of those maps that it's very sniper heavy if you get the opportunity to, because, I mean, I don't want to say it's easy to get the sniper kills on it, but it is a very flat map. You know, look at this. There's very few opportunities to really elevate yourself. Of course, there's the slight ramp either side of the central building, but most of the fighting is done not exactly on those. So for the most part, you can kind of hover around head height with those sniper rifles and be ready for it. And the majority of the fighting is basically done within that middle room. You know, a little bit either side, at a stretch, but for the most part the spawn rooms are ignored. So this map is basically one big rectangle if you look at it, in terms of what is realistically played on, with a bit of cover here and there. Definitely,
and we see a lot of ambushes taking place just outside the spawns as well. I think sometimes that can go bad and sometimes it can go wonderfully well. It just depends on, I think, your assessment of the situation at the time. Because we have seen people going for ambush points and they've kind of walked right into a 3 versus 1 situation. But that said, we see the knowledge come about. You know, one thing we can't underestimate is the comms and how important it is to communicate. If you go down, yeah, make sure you're telling the rest of the team how many members were near you, where are they, what weapon do they have, where are they starting to run towards. You don't have a lot of time to digest this information, but we're going into our second map on the military warehouse in Grand Finals for North America.
Okay, there's going coming through, but not going to quite connect, and Not a Team Player will get the first kill. Gentrix falls down. Oh, a triple kill from Not a Team Player. Perfect way to start things off, especially off the back of such a one-sided map in the first game.
It's a wonderful start, but the thing is, Hyped Up have been on the opposite end of a wonderful start before, and it hasn't been enough to seal the deal. Wonderful shot from Jon Snow.
Now he's getting another one too. We're talking about the perimeter, just how strong the snipers are on this kind of map, but Not a Team Player really getting so much mileage out of that Porcupine. Oh, but no, walks straight into Jon Snow, who will stop him dead in his tracks.
But I think that Not a Team Player had such a wonderful spree there. It is that early sort of chunk of points. Look at the difference between Not a Team Player and the rest of the team.
I mean, he's being the star player right now for sure, but he has to keep up that consistency. User getting a credit with another kill. And I think User really has been this kind of like sleeper hit of the team so far. So many kills coming through, but Stark get the kill. And another one, a double kill with the Butcher. And that by itself was brought Hyped Up quite close. And User with another sniper kill. I mean, again, if you are accurate, you could really do some damage on this map. And User is showing exactly why that is.
The push coming through, Team Player. Defensive grenade combined with damage. Gentrix working with Corrupt. All 3 members just doing their own dues.
It looks like V really opting to go for this kind of grouped up strategy now, really sticking as a 4. Oh, 2 headshots back to back. That is not a good situation for V as they got caught out.
My god, the second they were stuck in the room, Venom just needed to tap that grenade button and get a free grenade on a silver plate.
So hyped up, they were behind, but 2 headshots and then 2 grenade kills. Every single team member that died on V there died in a fashion that gave hyped up more points than usual. And that by itself has now given them the lead. That is a bad turnaround for V as they now need to keep it together. And a double kill with the grenade is a nice way of doing exactly that.
The same thing back. Going in the center of that room is just so dangerous because you're just asking to be grenaded. Corrupt before getting a killing spree. And we've seen how many points you get for a successful killing spree.
I've seen the power of that Odin, right? We have to remember those bullets do slow the target on hit. So if you've got one of your teammates with a sniper rifle trying to get kills and you're slowing them with the Odin, then it's going to be really hard for them to survive if they are caught out in the open.
Stark zigging when he should have zagged. Still able to recover. Excellent shot there. Could have been easily missed.
Jen in the distance. Any shot will do it and use it with another wonderful sniper kill. Being super accurate. Not a team player. Going to get that quick 1v1. He's on fire, but not really going to matter too much. Oh no! Walks into Stark. And a headshot is credited. Very close game here, but we are approaching later stages.
Corrupt is going to drop to either sniper shot or grenade. Pick your poison. That was a guaranteed death either way. Running straight into Gentrix's face first. And there's been a consistent kind of like 50-point lead from V. And I think that really does come from their wonderful start.
I think Hyped Up are really starting to drop these kills too, though. They're losing a lot of 1v1s. I think V really have switched on in terms of just this 1v1 skill. And Hyped Up really are starting to fall behind somewhat. It's an opportunity to win this, but V very close to winning this one and tying things up 1 apiece.
See if they can seal the deal right there. They're going to trade it 1 for 1. That's not going to be a good look. You can't really be taking these trades when it's so close. But hang on. They might be able to steal this win away. They need to cluster together. They have to watch out because not everyone on Hyped Up is healthy.
I mean, Jon Snow has a lot of armor, but he is by himself on the side. We can obviously see through the walls, so we know that VR positioned well to get this Gentrix. Does he have his team near him? And he's actually healing up.
Yeah, but popping the health. Oh, the 180. Excellent shot. That's going to keep them in the fight and maybe even be the game winner.
That's what happens. Jon Snow, he chased around the corner and he got more than he bargained for there. Now, do you reckon V are actually going to sit back on this? They do have the lead. A minute left to go. It's not going to be the easiest thing in the world.
I'm not sure Gentrix is going to peak this. You know, with no armor, you really
they're being defensive. Look, they're really sitting back. They know they have the lead, but it's not a big lead at all. Really giving Hyped Up the chance to regroup and force it down to one final fight. Oh, Jen is low.
Have to watch out.
That's 2 kills. That's actually giving Hyped Up the lead. Do they go back?
Gentrix is out in the open. Oh my word! Gentrix was out in the open. Wrong place, wrong time. Perfectly executed by Hyped Up.
I feel like there was a situation at that very end where there was almost like a miscommunication going on between V. Because V, they were clearly playing the defensive game. They had a tiny lead, like literally 10, 15 points at all, if that. But it was enough. Like a 15-point lead with less than a minute to go. They were probably like, okay, right, we are in the lead right now. We've got plenty of armor. We've got plenty of health. Let's sit back. Let's force them to come to us. Let's cover the options they can come in as a 4, and let's go for that. And that's what they were going for. But I feel like as soon as those 2 kills went away, the rest of V almost like sat back and opted to retreat and regroup. But Gentrix just didn't seem to get the memo. Like, he was still sticking out front, trying to get those kills. And that's actually something we've seen a few times today, is one player opting to just kind of go against what the rest of the team is trying to do. And because in those situations where you're like 1 kill away from victory, you can understand the thought process behind effectively like the lone wolf style player that's going for that. Like, well, I could regroup, but if I stay where I am and I can ambush one of them, I'll get the kill and I'll win the game. But it seems like almost like a weighing out the risk versus reward. Like, you could do that, but what are the chances of you getting that kill compared to the chances of you getting outnumbered and just annihilated in a situation where your death will literally lose the game?
Risky for Gentrix as well because there was no armor. That was one of the big things. Because in this situation, if you had patience and you would have been able to retreat back towards your own respawn, the teammates that had fallen might have had respawn protection. And if they'd pushed too hard, maybe you could have used the respawn protection of your drop teammates to secure a guaranteed kill.
It sounds like a whole lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda, unfortunately, and hindsight does not help them too much now, as within the next few minutes we'll be going into what could be the final map of the tournament today across both regions, as it's going to be finishing off maybe on Paradise Island, unless V can just bring themselves together. Because there's no getting around that fact. And of course, we're not going to forget the fact that that was a super close game. V were in the lead the vast majority, like 90% of that game, like easy. But did they let it slip through their fingertips right at the very end? Can they bring themselves together to really bring that dominance back to get the lead again in Paradise Island? Or are they just going to be a bit too far behind now?
After a win that close, sometimes it can be quite soul-crushing, can't it? You know, when you're the team that was winning for 95% of the match, and then at the last possible second, it's kind of almost like snatched through your fingers. When that happens, it can do a lot to a team or an individual player. They basically make sure they shrug off and forget that that team deathmatch even happened, because right now, this could be their last lifeline on Paradise Island. We've already seen in many, many cases how dangerous this map can be when you have a hyper-aggressive team, and I feel like if there's one team that's going to do that the best, better than everyone else, is going to be Hyped Up. They have to be a little bit worried about this one.
Absolutely. I mean, Hyped Up, they're going in with the momentum, they're going in with a safety net of 2-0 lead, which is all they need, in theory, really, to know that they are in a situation to win the tournament. You know, this is a 5-minute game. They're potentially 5 minutes away from winning the tournament and winning themselves another nice chunk of change, as they are already Go4 winners. Now it's a question of being able to do that for a third time, get that hat trick. That, to be honest, they will be the first people, the first team in the world to be able to say they've done that too, which you know is going to be quite a bragging right that they're going to want, especially going into the North American finals later this year. Well,
it's been quite a journey so far, and we thank all of you for joining us in this ESL Guns Boom Go4 final for North America, and we might be one final map away from absolute victory on the side of Hyped Up.
Yeah, well, there's going to be 2 kills for Stark, and I've got to be honest, I think, you know, we didn't mention him too much last game, but really User was one of the, in my opinion, the star players in that last game. His reliability and accuracy on those long-range sniper kills were just imperatively just super important. And now this kind of map, if he can do the same thing again, is going to be amazing for Hyped Up.
Now Gen be pushing in with the rest of the team. Excellent catch. Team player really distracting there and allowing Gen to get that brutal kill. Hyped Up do have the lead. It's a small lead, but a lead nonetheless. Here's a sneak attack. Not watching the left-hand side. Venom just kind of running in there, prioritizing getting the point as fast as possible. Corrupt sandwiched in, but not able to get the final shot, just using cover at the right time. And now we have a bit of a team maneuver in the center of this map, Mustard.
Yep, there's be trying to get a hold of the point, but they do die just before the end. But as he goes in to try and take it, User gets sniped by Gen in the distance. Venom now using that middle point as cover. Well-placed grenade from Gen just to get him off the point, and that's exactly what's going to happen. Gen is able to take down Venom and keep control of the King of the Hill.
This has every scope to be a close one. They are by pure definition trading things back and forth. Venom takes out one, and it is going to force that respawn situation. They tried to go for a little bit of a bully play right there and keep them away. Unfortunately, too many members of Hyped Up were healthy and able to kind of do the 180 turn on that.
Corrupt able to get that swift control of the point, though. Stuck in the distance trying to find the shot, but we can see all 4 members of V are ready to go in. Not a team player on the right-hand side. The point now on the left. 3 of the remaining members of the team start going around. Here's that 1v1. Oh, and a quick headshot.
That was so disgustingly clean.
Oh, Gentrix, they didn't support him in time, and he does manage to take someone down with him. Now V, they've actually got themselves quite a nice lead here, 70 points, and going. Grenade connects. Oh, but the butchered kill comes through.
I mean, this is the time to stop. This is the time to stop pulling punches. You know, you bring your A game right now, or you allow Hyped Up to get absolute victory and a clean 3-0. I think if they're going to win a map, it has to be this one.
Oh, User just messing up that kill. He gets one shot, but can't follow it through with more. But not a team player gets taken down by Stark, who is ready and waiting with a Barracuda and a double kill, double headshot. Barracuda perfectly played and still going. Venom getting the rest of the team as well, and a double kill too. That is a lot of multi-kills back to back, but not a team player comes flying in with another grenade before dying himself. Now, really, V, they're doing a good job of trading out the kills, but they aren't able to take the point. The points are just every second adding up faster and faster.
We see 2 brutal kills, and the push is real. Really forcing V into a bad situation. Team player now able to push and take the point, but so weak. Oh. Even a grenade is going to steal the deal. And it goes to show just how much one good group fight can just change the tide of any battle.
I mean, V, they were in the lead, but now Hyped Up a 200-point lead as we go through to the last couple of hundred towards the end of maybe the tournament. This is tournament round for Hyped Up. Very close. Not a team player able to sneak his way onto the point. Was able to control, but Venom going for the 1v1. They're going to trade it out thanks to User in the distance, who was able to at least trade the kill. So their team can still hold on to the point. Jon Snow from a distance trying to get rid of Corrupt. He will do. It's a revenge kill, but Gen is ready and waiting to take him down also. But Hyped Up now, less than 100 to winning this one. Is there even the option for V to bring this one back?
I mean, I feel like I sense one more final group play. Is Venom going to score this? They trade it back and forth, and that was not a trade they want to take, because that means there are way too many points for V to answer back. There's no way on this earth Hyped Up are not going to get one final kill. They need one more.
Oh, and a double kill, a double headshot. Is there any more of a perfect way to end a clean 3-0 victory for Hyped Up, as they are for a 3rd time in a row, Go4 final champions? What a team. absolutely the best in North America, and huge congratulations.
I mean, you said it yourself, right? What a team. Absolute victory. We've had 3 Go4s, and we've had the same champion time after time after time. And let's check out some of these replays where it's going to be a mixture of these group fights coming through. It was such an excellent start for V, who had a really significant lead, but in classic fashion, the second one group fight goes south, and it comes into, right, let's put on the chokehold. Let's do damage as they spawn. And then when they have finally pushed out into the middle, they don't have the health to fight us.
No, not at all, but we saw that time and time again. I think a big part of that game just came down to the sheer accuracy from Hyped Up, right? So much dependence on the sniper rifles, on those Barracudas, which is such a, it's such a high skill cap way of playing, right? When you really favor sniper rifles over a lot of situations that people will pull out, you know, they'll opt to go for the Juggernaut, they'll opt to go for the Odin, because they know that the difficulty comes from landing those sniper rifles. Because you're going for sniper rifles, it's basically headshots or don't bother for the most part. And if you can get them in a situation that you can get a double kill here, point blank shot here and there, you can just be a complete nightmare to deal with. And that is something that consistently Hyped Up are able to provide. And in my opinion, a huge part as to why they're so dangerous. Well,
for one final time of the night, let's consult the North American bracket and really take a look at what this path of the teams has been. We had our semi-finals between Hyped Up, Amplified, V and Yakuza, and then our grand finals turned out to be a swift and dominant 3-0 for Hyped Up versus V, who were so close in a couple of instances to taking victory and at least getting a map on the board, but it just was not meant to be today. One final congratulations to Hyped Up, who are without a shadow of a doubt the top team in North America. I don't really think that's even remotely disputable, be it the weekly qualification or be it right now when we have Go4s after Go4s and they just keep winning. That said and done is everything we have time for today. Thank you all very much at home for tuning in. Thank you very much for the Game Insight team for your continued support of this wonderful game, and shout outs to the crew behind the scenes for making it all possible. We have been Ketchup and Mustard. One final thank you for joining us, and we will see you at the EU Invitational.